Researchers and civil society stakeholders have unanimously agreed that the lack of trust in the Independent National Electoral Commission, the use of archaic electoral laws, and the spate of electoral violence are some causes of voter apathy in Nigeria and across the world.
People expect good governance, people expect welfare provisioning, people equally expect protection in the form of security. The failure of the institutions of government. When people feel government is not doing enough, sometimes they could conclude that even subsequent government will not give them what they expect of them.
The issue of growing distrust in the electoral system, people are beginning to feel that the electoral body is not conducting elections that are enabling their vote to count. So increasingly, the loss of faith in those electoral bodies and electoral process. Increasingly, we have seen our politicians, mobilize violence in a large scale or in a dispersed scale in order to win an election. That in itself is causing a lot of discomfort. People are not really prepared to risk their life to vote for election. There is always this conclusion that the outcome of the election tend not to reflect in terms of the outcome, in terms of those who have emerged victorious.
Voters not making use of their right to vote sometimes, I would say, is a challenge in many countries. Even in Germany, when there's election, we always look at the voter turnout.
Consequences of voter apathy is said to be dire for any nation's democracy and development. Some identified consequences are discouraging competitive elections, encouraging lopsided voting patterns, emergence of unpopular and bad governance.
Especially for women, because I look at the gender dimension. There is the issue of lack of trust of the entire political process, election process. Women really complain bitterly about the security, violence in campaign, election process, the same thing during election. Issue of lack of voter education and representation of quality leaders.
To change this narrative ahead of the 2027 polls, researchers say the government must ensure good governance, credible electoral reforms, and the provision of security for electorates before, during, and after the polls.
Our civil society should not lose hope. The civil society is a critical actor in this our electoral journey, and therefore they need to sustain and upscale the level of concentration of their mobilization and voter sensitization and civic education.
To improve the voter apathy in the country ahead of the 2027 polls, some civil society chieftains have also called on political parties and the government to put national interests first so as to consolidate Nigeria's democratic journey. Anthony Momodu, Arise News.